In a modern school, the most significant conflicts rarely begin with a visible explosion. They don't start as high-profile confrontations in the hallway. They emerge from microscopic origins. Usually, it's a single joke, a sarcastic comment, or a meme posted by one student within the perceived safety of a private group chat. When the initial peer group reacts with laughter or emojis, it immediately creates a false sense of security. The participants feel as though the action is harmless, and more importantly, entirely contained within their circle. That control vanishes the moment a single participant takes a screenshot. A screenshot instantly strips a message of its original context. Without the surrounding conversation or the intended tone, that joke becomes a static digital artifact that is easily weaponized and shared. This reliance on digital privacy often blinds students to the coming reality. A single micro-action is about to trigger a ripple effect that none of the original participants can stop. Social platforms are designed for frictionless sharing. Because the architecture of these apps encourages rapid distribution, a screenshot can exit a private chat and enter the wider school community in seconds. This flowchart illustrates the chronological mutation of a post. It begins as a joke node, but as it is forwarded, it expands into a teasing node, and then multiplies into dozens of sharing nodes across different social circles. This is digital velocity. As the post hits overlapping group chats, the scale of the spread moves from a linear progression to an exponential curve, reaching hundreds of people simultaneously. At this speed, passive participants begin sharing the post simply to fit in. These users often have no connection to the original group, causing the message to detach completely from starting context. While the digital spread is instantaneous, the human realization is often delayed. The targeted student is frequently the last person to discover they have become the focal point of the entire school's digital conversation. Digital platforms remove the cues of face-to-face empathy. This allows a minor instance of peer-to-peer teasing to function as a high-speed mechanism for public humiliation. We need to look away from the screens and focus on the physical hallway. For the target, the digital spread translates into a very real environment of whispers and avoided eye contact. The resulting psychological toll is almost always immediate. As the realization of the spread sets in, the student often experiences a rapid onset of isolation, shame, and defensive anger. There are observable physical warning signs to watch for. A social classmate may suddenly withdraw, become unusually quiet during group work, or start avoiding the busy cafeteria. Parallel signs appear in the digital space. A group chat suddenly spikes aggressively, the use of exclusionary tactics, or repetitive mocking of one person. Recognizing these physical manifestations of digital trauma is the only way to identify an invisible crisis before it results in a physical confrontation. Escalation reaches a critical threshold when passive bystanders begin to take sides. This shifts the school culture from private mocking to overt, widespread hostility. This timeline shows the final phase of escalation. The trajectory moves steeply from public humiliation into direct conflict, crossing the threshold into the zone of active threats and safety concerns. When digital mockery turns into threats of physical violence, the chatter becomes a real-world safety risk. At this point, the situation requires formal school intervention and the activation of institutional safety protocols to protect the building. Ignoring the early stages of a digital spread makes this outcome nearly inevitable. It transforms a manageable social issue into a severe institutional crisis that affects every student and staff member. Breaking this chain requires a single bystander to acknowledge the gap between the screen and reality. It starts when you see the aggressive messages on your phone, and then look up to see the isolated state of the targeted person. This is your decision point. You have the power to disrupt the momentum of a spreading rumor through a conscious choice to pause. Ask yourself, could this post hurt someone? Does this make a classmate feel physically unsafe? If the answer is yes, the most effective preventative action is to step away from the device. By refusing to laugh or share to fit in, you stop contributing to the digital velocity of the harm. Disciplined non-participation is the first line of defense in stopping digital escalation. For serious situations, follow the prevention protocol. Speak privately to a trusted teacher, guidance counselor, or school safety officer. Reporting an escalating incident provides an opportunity for intervention before a social conflict results in permanent harm. This action secures the safety of the school community by involving those equipped to handle a crisis. Pause before you post. Think before you share. Choose safety over engagement. A safe digital school culture is built on the micro-decisions of every student. Small, thoughtful preventive actions are just as powerful as the small actions that cause harm.